This is a paradigm shift for you, but it's the answer. The answer's not complicated. The answer's simple. So what you got to believe is that what you've been told about Einstein, the mathematics of Einstein, is complicated deliberately so that you can't understand it, because physics and physicists don't understand it. Mass energy equivalence my ass. And know that the answer's simple. Once you have that answer, once you've got it, it's Galileo's ship. So when Galileo discovered the moons, and the moons of Jupiter, and he discovered that the sunspot activity on the planet, on the sun, went through this cycle in a year, he knew something was up with what he was observing. And he took the Copernican model and said that all the wandering stars go around the sun. The lights are not immutable, as Archimedes or Aristotle, can't remember, said. They're not immutable. He'd found moons on Jupiter, so something was different. And then he found the wandering stars. Now, they assumed that Earth, in his fear was that Earth was just one of the wandering stars going around the sun. And that he wanted to find, in a thought experiment, could he prove that the Earth was the center of the universe? So what he's saying is, I want to prove that all the wandering stars go around the sun, but the sun goes around us at the center of the world, as they described it. They had the fixed stars and the center, Earth, as the world, and they had the wandering stars. Could he prove that? And he did the Galileo's ship thought experiment, but it shows you can't. That on a ship, the experiments will be exactly the same. The inertial frame of reference is the ship, so that all the experiments will be the same relative to the ship, and you won't be able to tell if you're moving or not, if you're still, if it's a flat calm, see? But that's not true. It is possible. And so what they've done is, Love 1892, Mathematical Treatise on the Theories of Elasticity, ties all this together, from Galileo's the dialogues about bending and strength up to 1892. Because 1892 is before Victor Levy's dissertation in 1906. That's when the door closed. So they discovered it. So that in that intervening 400 years, 350 years, they had been grafting. Could we find a way to mathematically prove that the Galileo ship was moving? Yeah, by doing experiments on the ship, can you prove that the ship is actually moving? Yes, you can. Victor Levy proved how to do it using matrix calculus, fixed points, and prove vector potential, etc., etc. And so the answer is then simple. They can prove the Earth's the center of the universe, which they did, and then they lied to us. They decided to hide that information in 1906 and decided to start some wars instead. They thought that some suffering was in hand, that as at hand they could make us suffer because they had this information, and they did, and have been doing so ever since. And so just go back to that idea. Galileo's ship. Can you prove that what's moving relative to what? Yes, you can. The Earth is the center of the universe. It goes round once a day, relative to the fixed world, the cosmos, which doesn't move. The sun and all the planets go round us. So the sun goes around us, and the planets go around the sun. And it's the relationship between the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun, which is the final answer. So the answer is simple. The answer is simple. Are you ready for the future? Follow the Rebel King.